G'day, Phil here, and I'm just going to welcome to this tutorial where I'm going to show you how to make a really basic backing track, okay, from a commercially available MIDI file. Now, the learning intention is how do we make a backing track, or we are going to make a backing track from a commercially available MIDI file. Okay, now I don't know if you understand what they are, but you're going to see what that's all about. It's come about from several colleagues, friends asking me in the last week when they see my 4 fills videos where I'm teaching lessons and there's 4 of me in a frame, and what app to use to make that. Or last year when I made a video with some children I teach remotely in Kenya and a few schools I was working in, and we did a video with all those musicians and the children in Kenya singing together and playing instruments, The Lion Sleeps Tonight, and I get the question, what app do you use to make that? Okay, now of course that's a very complex question. I'm not going to answer that question in this video. This is a starting point because you can't do a project like that unless you've got some kind of guide that everyone's listening to. If you see those videos where you've got a choir and you've got 40 or 50 people all in a choir, you'll see they've got headphones on or their earpods or whatever. Okay, so what are they listening to? We just need a simple backing track. Now, the way I would do that, I'm going to be using Garageband, okay? So my friends that asked the question have mostly got Apple MacBooks, so you know that's what they're using, and you've got a free program on here, all right? Now, we're not going to look at changing the key. I might do that in a separate video because commercially available MIDI files, they sometimes lock out those features. They're kind of set, all right? So let's not worry about that. But I would just actually get the tab for the song, and the song we're using is Take the Pressure Down by Johnny Farnham, and that's, I've done a whole lesson, a whole unit of work for my stage 5, the year 9 or 10 music class to be able to make an arrangement and form a band and do that project, playing together in multiple frames. Okay, so to guide them at the start and when they're starting to make the video, we need that backing track. So I could get the music and I could play the chords in and put a drum loop in Garageband, and my friends that asked the question, they've got those skills. But I'm presuming that you, watching this video, you might not have those skills. Okay, so here we go. We're in GarageBand, so I want to find this thing called a MIDI file. Now, MIDI files, they're not like an MP3, and I'll tell you the advantage of that. The sound's not in it. It just has multiple tracks, different instruments, but the sounds, it just is musical information, because the MIDI is a format that was invented back in the 80s called Musical Instrument Digital Interface. Okay, I've put a link in my blog post about what MIDI is, and you can read that if you're interested. But we're looking for Take the Pressure Down Johnny Farnham. I could have typed in Johnny Farnham first, but the key thing we've got to type in is MIDI. Okay, and okay, yeah, and we've got a few things there. All right, that's what I meant to type. Okay, and there's 3 different companies here where you can get, now that one says free MIDI files, but in my experience, you get a whole lot of advertising and things. It's worth paying the money, and it's better for copyright. Now, we're not breaking copyright because this song, I'm taking this MIDI file, I'm modifying it as a classroom resource. It's for educational purposes. What is not great is if you happen to, okay, I'm just showing you there that that's what it appears as. And if we add the MIDI, we can see that it's about $10 Australian. Okay, and this is an Australian company. They're pretty dependable. Okay, so you go through that, punch in your credit card, and you can download the MIDI file. All right. Now, let's put that into GarageBand. So empty project, choose that. Okay, and we want a software instrument. Doesn't make a lot of difference. For GarageBand users, you could just double click and it'll open that up in GarageBand. Okay, so let's put that in there. Okay, and here's where GarageBand's got some great features. Okay, now we don't need that, so just close that, open this window out a little bit, and let's have a listen to what we've got. Now what we'll do is we'll turn off our metronome click and our counting. Don't need those. Oh, okay, don't like that. So here's this button, that's that Epic Electro, that's our drum kit they've got. Now in my other music software, it sounds way better because it's a higher level music software and it's actually playing a shaker. So some of the sounds in GarageBand aren't that great. Okay, so we could change the sound of this drum kit and you might get something a bit better. But I'd say let's just mute it. Okay, now we've got way more tracks here than we need. So what we're going to do, we're just going to get rid of some of these tracks. We can adjust tempo if we like. Now our problem is we don't have that annoying sound. Okay, now I'm not all that fussed on this emotive pulse. We just basically need, say, a bass line. It's just to practice with, the kids to practice with. Okay, so I'm not too fussed on that listening pad, but the problem is now we don't have a counting. We've got 2 whole bars here. All right, and nothing's happening. Okay, now that'll be a good backing track for our purposes, but let's do this. See that loop browser? Okay, that opened up there. That little picture of a loop, that middle button up here, and we click on that, and okay, there's all these loops that we can put into a blank space down here, but we just particularly want a drum kit. Okay, now we're looking for a basic beat. Let's just scroll down here. Okay, basic vintage break. Let's have a listen. Okay, now drag that right to the start there. Okay, close the loop browser, and we've got this. Okay, now see that if we just hover our trackpad or mouse over the end there, and we can click and drag right along to the end of the song, we've replaced that drum track. Okay, and that's great because now there's the end of the song there. Let's just have a listen to the end and see how it sounds. Great, okay, we're ready to, if you're happy with that, right, well, let's export it. Okay, so, right, share, export song to disk. This is how you do it in Garageband. And what we want from this is an MP3 file, because whether you're using Google Classroom or Canvas or whatever learning management system you're using, you can embed the backing track into the lesson, or if you've got multiple musicians, you're trying to put something together, you share the MP3 with them, and take the pressure down, basic backing. Okay, and there we go, MP3, and that's in that key, but I might come back and show you in another video how we can take that MP3 in GarageBand and we can move the key around a little bit. Okay, and that will be in whatever folder you've set it in. Okay, I'll just show you again that when you do that, okay, when you share song to disk and it's an MP3, I'll just go over that again. What we want is that dot there, MP3, title it. Oh, that's gone to my Dropbox. So that's perfect because it's across all my devices now. Okay, but usually it automatically goes into the GarageBand folder. So you set the folder you want it in, documents, desktop, wherever you want it. Okay, and yeah, that's it. We've got a basic backing track for our project now.